republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joseph Britton.
Here.
Rachel Gillespie is here. Kate Netta. Here. Gladys Cooper.
Here.
Richard Janelli.
Here.
Patrick Johnston.
Here.
Frederick Barat.
Here.
David Traina.
Here.
Emmanuel Ramirez. Here. Ralph Cresta is absent. James Tonino. Here.
Okay. Recognitions. Yep. Luanelli Iglesias, Rogers Park Middle School teacher. George I. Sanchez Memorial Award, given annually to an educator who promotes education for Hispanic children, to be presented by the National Education Association Convention this summer.
Congratulations.
And thank you for this opportunity to recognize the award. I've been in the middle school, Rogers Park, for 40 years, and I want to thank God for this recognition, my family, our district, and also our community. I believe that we have to give by grace what by grace we receive, and I've been blessed to have been able to come to this country almost 3 years ago. I was a bilingual student, and I received the support of a lot of wonderful teachers and my community, and that's what I do today. I love my job, I love my students. I have to thank Rogers Park, I have to thank the MEA, Teacher Association, CPA, because they have been walking with me through this path, keeping me on their wings, and I believe that we are part of the solution. Like George Sanchez, who was an activist, believe our bilingual students and staff are an asset to this country, to our system, to our society, and they need a lot of support. It is not easy when you come to this country and you don't know the language and you have to get used to the weather, to the environment, to the culture. And you only have your mom or your dad, and you don't have your grandparents, your uncles, and your extended family. So we teachers and administrators and school staff provide a lot of support to them, and they need us. They need to feel valued, respected, supported, loved, and they need to feel that they're part of our team. And that's what I believe. That's what I try to do every day. I love, like I said, I love my job. I come here really happy, and I really enjoy what I do. I like to see them happy, and some of them don't even want to have vacation. You know, they feel that their school is their family, and we need to continue supporting them. We need to support their life, their family, work with their parents. Many of them come to this country and they have their professions in their country. They cannot perform it here because of the language barrier, because probably they don't have certifications. But they're coming here with a dream. And we need to help them fulfill that dream, because they are our future. They're the ones who are going to take care of us in the future. And if we educate them and we have them to be successful, our country's going to get better. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Want to take a photo right there, too?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Okay, and we have Sanye Sudar Sanam. This is for the finalist in the spelling bee, 6th place overall. This is, how are you? Say something?
Well,
Oh, feel free, go ahead.
It was pretty fun to do this, and how I got introduced to this was because of Mr. Colquhoun, thanks to him, who actually, and he was like a math specialist who came to AIS, but what he really wanted to do was introduce the spelling bee. So when I heard that, since I'm very comfortable at spelling, so I wanted to get in, and I got in.
certainly did.
Yeah, but only because of his dedicated and hard work, I was able to come up to this level. It was just because of him. So all the credit
So can we take a picture of the coach and the board of chairs?
Sure. I go right over there, where we were before. Over there, we'll go take a picture.
There's a principal in the audience, I think. Yes, Chris. Mom and Dad want to take a photo?
Want to get in the photo? Get in the picture and I'll take
Thank you. Congratulations.
Mom and Dad in the audience, I see.
Right now. Is the heel in the shot here?
Alright, so thank you so much. Thank you. Please. Ever since I was in 3rd grade, I started on this journey in spelling. Mr. P back there also started me off. So. But all the other teachers pushed me along too. They were the ones that supported me, as well as my parents. Thank you. Yeah, so I just want to say it's been an incredible experience. This is my last year of 8th grade. So it was really nice and fun to have this experience and go through it. And I'd do anything to go through it.
Would anything include staying in 8th grade?
Is there anybody? Yeah, do the parents want to get in on a picture there?
I can use
Yeah.
it. Oh, that's your picture.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Thank you.
It's awesome. That's a TV show about the coach. Tell us about how you got motivated.
Well, I took on the spelling program at Savvy Rough when I was a teacher there about 7 years ago. And it kind of just blossomed. I started with about 9 or 10 kids, and then it shot up to about 25, and then my last year at Danbury, I had almost 50 kids in it to start off with, and it's a competition. We, rigorously work with the kids on, etymology of words, parts of speech, and it's really just about pumping the kids up and getting them excited about academics and competition. But these kids are really a testament to how incredible these kids can be. Out of the top 10 at the Connecticut State B this year, 2 were represented from Danbury. No other school had as many as Danbury did. So, also a little humble too. He represented Danbury at the National Spelling Bee in Washington D.C. when he was 4 years. So,
Wow.
so he didn't want to brag, I don't think, but yeah, they're very special kids, and yes, I am math, but I always loved spelling. I was spelling bee when I was a kid too. So to be able to bring this to AIS, Mr. Rocha was very accommodating, bring it in, get the kids excited, and Sandia did an amazing job. Akil has done an amazing job. So thank you, Mr. Rocha.
We had hours of play-by-play by text. For each round, they're still in. How many's left? Here we go. So it was like March Madness.
Yeah, they were incredible. Kids were incredible, and it's a testament to the hard work that they put in. I mean, they put in a considerable amount of hours outside of school, as well as the coaching sessions after school. So they're amazing job. And thank you guys for recognizing these kids. It's really amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, public participation.
Mary Ann Martins.
Good evening, Board of Education and Community. My name is Mary Ann Martins, and I am a social work student at Western Connecticut State University. Currently, I am interned at the Family Resource Center located at Morris Street School. This center is dedicated to serving Morris Street School and is inclusive of all Danbury public schools and the Danbury community. For the last 2 months, I have had the incredible opportunity to see the impact this center has on the families of the Danbury public schools. It provides a parent-teacher program with home visitations, workshops for adults, resources for community programs and activities, and after-school programs for students. As I have been able to assist in the after-school programs, I have seen the positive impact it has made on the students. One of the most influential programs I have observed throughout my time is the theater club. This theater club consists of 27 students who are contributing to the production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I've witnessed students completely transform from being timid and introverted to breaking out of their shell and having a boost in their confidence. Individuals that once did not have many friends have now formed friendships that are seen outside of the club. Not only that, students have learned how to be organized, time managed, and what it means to be a part of a team. These students have been working hard as they rehearse 2 times a week for an hour and a half each day. They are very excited to demonstrate their hard work and dedication as the show dates are coming up soon. We would like to invite the community and the Board of Education to our production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on May 8th or May 9th at 6:30 p.m. in the Morris Street School cafeteria. If you are interested in buying tickets, I will leave forms on the table, and we hope to see you in the audience. So thank you for your time, and have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. At a return to the dais by Linda Scott.
Sorry. Hey everybody, Linda Scott, teacher at Sally Road, in case you forgot. I really only came to talk about our dance tonight, but some themes have sort of evolved as I've been sitting here. So I did was one of mine, so super exciting. Spelling bee is a big deal at Sally Road School, and it really was. Is he still here? Because of Mr. P. Ken Busher started the program. Ken Busher, and he'll be the first to tell you, cannot spell a lick. But he started our spelling program, and then Mr. P took it over from him and really ratcheted it up a notch. And our kids were hardcore. And if you've never watched the spelling bee, I would strongly encourage you to take that opportunity at some time to watch this experience. I am well read, I am well spoken, maybe not in public when I get nervous, but
holy cow, they are words that I had never heard of in my life, and I cannot believe what they sound like and are spelled like. Fascinating. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. And I just want to say that Mr. P does that on his time, right? It's a volunteer position. And I feel like sometimes I have to remind the general public, not just you guys specifically, about how much volunteer work teachers do. But yeah, Mr. P does that all after school voluntarily, plus attending. We've traveled across the state to watch various spelling bees, so that's pretty amazing. And then I just wanted to speak about Luanelli as well. So she sits on the executive board with me. If you're not aware, I'm a Danbury secretary as well. Each year, there's a group of 6 to 7 of us, delegates that are elected from Danbury teachers that go and join our national group of teachers, so 10,000 strong in a convention hall over the 4th of July. So for the past, I don't know, gosh, this might be my 10th-ish time, I've given up my 4th of July weekend for a week's time in some part of the country with 10,000 other teachers. That's not about me, that's not the point. Point is, Luanelli is going to get to sit there in front of 10,000 teachers, plus all the extra people in the audience, and be recognized for this award. And we get to say, she's from Danbury, which is pretty darn awesome. So I just had to say those 2 things. Then, I wanted to mention the awesome thing that's happening at Southern Rock on Friday. So this year is our 10th anniversary of our Don't Diss My Ability dance, which started 10 years ago by a Danbury student who had a brother who was born with Down syndrome. That brother is now in 4th grade with us at Southern, so it's pretty cool that this has come around full circle in our 10-year anniversary. It's put on by our Kindness and Compassion Club, another volunteer organization. 2 of our teachers and 1 of our paraprofessionals, Danielle Catanese, Debbie Ireland, and Kim Shook, are the ones who run that club. It's an after-school club for about 25 kids. And they host 2 major events, one a K2 event and then one the 3-5 dance event, which is a fundraiser for some kind of community organization. And the kids choose it. This time it was kind of chosen for them since it was the 10th anniversary. But the dance started when this boy's sister came and said, you know, I want to do something, like I want to raise awareness. And so that's how our dance started. We sell t-shirts, the kids participate through that, and then there's various other ways that the money is raised. So it's our 10th anniversary, which is pretty impressive. So, I don't know, a middle school dance and a high school dance and an elementary school dance is pretty interesting. So if you're not doing anything Friday after school, around about 3:30, you want to come watch the events at the 10th annual Don't Diss My Ability dance, you are certainly welcome to come do that. But again, another volunteer organization, these people, they give their time, but good things are happening. So yeah, we'll be donating a significant portion of our proceeds to the Down Syndrome organization this year as well.
That's his right.
Friday. Yep, from 3 to 5. Yep. Come dance with us.
That is all the public participation we have on the list. Is there anybody who was not on the list who wanted to speak? Please. Just state your name and...
I apologize for arriving a few minutes late. I'm Donna Bosworth. I'm an art teacher over at Bar Street and the Magnet School. I'm also the co-coordinator for our district-wide celebration of Danbury Arts. CODA Festival happens once a year, and it brings together from throughout the district art, music, robotics, our culinary program. ROTC helps out. The NOS Kids, the National Art Honor Society, is heavily involved, along with all of our schools represented in visual arts and music performances. We're very happy to be able to move it back to the high school this year. The main entrance that will have people come through is the new Black Box Performing Arts Center, and then we'll be using the hallways and outside courtyard. I wanted to send an invitation, I have paper invitations for everybody that I'll pass out. It's coming up on May 11th, and it's a Saturday from 11 to 4. And we hope to see lots of friendly faces there. It's a really beautiful day. The kids, it's run by the kids for the kids. There's face painting and art making, all kinds of music performances for all different age levels. There's games and crafts that the kids make. And then we do have some community organizations that come in, people like WestCon and the Music Center, Roots and Shoots, and I'm sure I'm forgetting 20 different other ones that are on my list as I'm trying to get up all of the fine details. But I hope that we'll be able to see you there. Okay, you guys need to thank you.
So much. Is there anybody else who was not on the list who wants to speak? Anybody? Going once, twice, sold. All right. Consent calendar.
That the Board of Education approves the items on the consent calendar, exhibits 19-60 through 19-61 as recommended.
Second motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Cooper. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Employee representative, spotlight your school, reach and endeavor.
Let's go.
Yeah, student drafting on over. Rachel's just challenging us that. I called the state. I didn't ask you right now. I called to verify.
I'm excited, maybe it's great.
Because I literally called him.
That way she's gonna borrow Dave's blazer. We all set?
Yeah, just a moment.
It's got to finish heating up.
Well, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to spotlight my school. We are the Reach and Endeavor program, and it's kind of funny because when I'm out in the community or wherever I am, they always say, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm an administrator of an alternative program." They said, "Oh, ACE?" And I, well, maybe a little bit different than ACE, maybe a little bit more alternative on the bottom. So we're the school that is a behavior modification program that we really try to get our students back on track to get them back into their home schools. We have one of our students here tonight. We'll talk about that. We can't get rid of her because she wants to stay with us, and so we'll talk about that. It's a new journey. Our program is a journey every year. We don't know what students we're going to start with in September. We don't know their disabilities. We don't know their issues. We don't know their behaviors. We don't know how they're going to interact with other students. And it ends up that it's a journey every year. I really want to say probably every semester, but then I thought maybe every quarter. Well, it's a journey all through the year. But we are successful, and our students are, and we're going to show you a little bit of a clip of things that our students do. We are a reward program. It's called the PBIS, where we try to show students that don't receive rewards at home, that don't get the praise, that are the name calling, and their parents don't think very highly of them. So one of the things that we try to do in our program is to try to build them up by positive reinforcement. And that's pretty much what our goal is. We have returned kids to high school. We have graduated students from our schools. And we've had several of our students have gone on to Abitech. Matter of fact, I was talking this morning and she was saying, "Jackie, you want to see your magic?" Well, I'm going to show you my magic. This is my magic. Oh. You have to be first of all, teachers are special. I've always believed that. I would have never gotten into education if I didn't think so. But you have to be a little bit more special to work in a program like this. Because you have to be more patient, you have to be more understanding, you have to be able to take a lot of knocks. And we know that you can't take it personal. And this staff is now, we're strong. And I can't tell you how proud I am of standing in front of them right here, leading them to the success of our program. And I'm just going to go down. We have Mr. Williams. He's science and math. Mr. Laurie. He's also on that GoFundMe page thing. He's hot. He kills it. Mrs. Amon, Mr. Frisch, Ms. Fitz, Juliana's my student, and Ms. Bruce. We put up some artwork. We put up some artwork to let you see that these are our kids that are doing this art. And it's all in our hallways. We display their work. Just like any other school. So it's pretty awesome. And then I'm the administrator, Jackie DiNardo, and this is my assistant administrator that covers the bill, Mike Scheich.
Okay, we're going to play this. I was not spelling champion in advance.
Before we get started, I just want to say, I'm sorry, just a picture you see right there. These are two of our graduates. If you see the young lady on the right-hand side, she is Miss Connecticut Latino. And she graduated from the REACH program. Matter of fact, she just took off to LA as got an agent and going to look to do some modeling, possibly some acting. The young man that's underneath the sign is also a young man that graduated from our program. Struggled a lot, but found his way, and he is now what they call a dental assistant in operations, like operating table. He goes in and helps hand the tools and things like that. So he also has a career, has 2 children, married, awesome. So I just wanted to highlight those two, just to let you know what our kids, some of our kids have turned out like. Ready? I'm sorry. I did not create any sound, guys.
It's all right. Thank you.
We're going to finish up with one of my little girls that I would adopt myself. And this is Juliana, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how she feels about being with us. She actually is a student that started in the Endeavor program. She left, and we have her back. We got
So basically, I've had, so basically I had, like, a couple options to go, like, to different schools and stuff, and for some reason I've always come. But, it is, I actually don't know what to say. But, So I am grateful for like my teachers and stuff because like usually like in my time of crisis they're always there like to help me, and Ms. Price, she's there to like talk to us and calm us down. And I always go to Ms. Lee to talk to her too, and I prefer Reach for the reason because our teachers are always on top of us and like making sure we're like getting our work done and making sure we understand and stuff, which is something I like that helps me. So yeah.
You're invited 7 o'clock, 7:15 to 3 o'clock any day. You don't have to, call and make an appointment. You're always invited to come and stop by. We have a great graduation for our Endeavor group. Gladys Cooper has been to several of those graduations. We have a pretty nice one for our 8th grade going on to 9th grade. We have our own ceremony. Also, the middle schools are very good about taking our kids back into dances. They all have their privileges. My high school, as long as they're not expelled, they also get to go to all the activities and all the other things at the high school. So the door is open. I've got a young lady that wants to run track. Track coach is going to give her a shot. She just came back out of detention and going to give her a shot on Tuesday to see if she makes the team. And so the doors are open for them. Just because we're across town doesn't mean that our students don't have the same opportunity. So thank you for having us tonight. And
Thank you, wait a minute.
oh, did I say
Don't go beyond the way.
Don't run away?
No.
Oh.
The board, I just need to thank all of you publicly because of the work that you do. We don't get to see it every day, and I'm glad you came today to talk about it. You always feel a value there. Our youngsters that go there for, we're all kids at one time, make decisions, they're not right. And for Danbury to create this, it's just commentary to how much you all care for our kids, no matter where and what you need. And this staff here, every day, gets up, goes down there, and it's hard work. And we see the work that you do. And we're very, very appreciative for all that you do. And, there is no last chance there. There's a chance there every day. That's what I've learned. When you come every day, it's a new day, let's get going. And that's incredible. And it's really powerful. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank all of you so much. All right, we have student representatives.
Hi, my name is Mr. Nagrashad, GOG President at Danbury High School. So first up, the National Honor Society, Mr. DHS, will be next Friday, May 3rd at 6 p.m. in the auditorium to raise money for the Smile Train. Danbury's play Godspell was earlier this month, and it went great, and there was great turnout at all 3 shows. And the Laramie Project, which is next week, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, will be in the Black Box Theater, so if you would like to come, you can come to that as well. As for sports, Danbury's baseball team is up for Team of the Week and is doing very well. Arts, 9 student artists from Danbury High School were selected as winners in this year's Hooray for the Arts contest. And peer leadership interviews are done, and the selection process has started for new peer leaders for next year. All class elections, as well as BOG elections, are coming up within the next month. Our sophomore ones are tomorrow. And prom, junior prom, is this Friday at the Portuguese Center.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Action items.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the
Denied.
I plead.
That the Board of Education accept the March 2019 operating results analysis, general fund grant projects in accordance with 19-62.
Second. Seconded by Mr. Matrina. Any discussion?
Just mine. As I indicated to the board last meeting, some concern going into the year end with some of the costs and overages we're going to see it appear in special ed and substitute lines. We did up the substitute rates, in which did help boost our overall fill rates, which would help. It has the prep period coverage, which is $35 a period to drop. But the offset, there's not going to be enough to offset the two. But the coverage rate is going to be far better instead of a plus. We are going to see that. Transportation is going to be a stressor in special ed. We are going to put the city on notice on some of the special ed costs just as a precaution going into year end. I'm not super concerned, but it's a small one, I'll put it that way. I never like to work, by the way, folks. It's not a cruise control like I usually like, let's just put it that way.
Anybody else? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Healthy food option pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, the Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all stores, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or by non-school organizations and groups.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Cooper. Do you have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Food exemptions. The Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held.
We have a second. Seconded by Mrs. Palmaris. Any discussion?
It lets us sell snacks after school.
What's that?
It just lets us sell snacks after school.
Yeah, it was a real lot of language to say a Twinkie's okay 30
Not
minutes after.
when you get a dime on the reimbursable, so it's about 130,000 for the lunch program with these motions, so there's a reason.
Thank you. Thanks for all the reading. We got a second.
One more.
Discussion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Exemptions for beverages. The Board of Education will allow the sale to students of beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the beverages are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. The school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the beverage sales.
Seconded by Mrs. Canetta. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Superintendent's report.
The city, all of you that attended the public hearing, that was April 15th.
April 15th. Tax day.
I mean, at the end of the day, the committee did approve the mayor's budget recommendation for us, and there'll be a final vote on that on May 7th.
May 7th, 7:30.
At 7:30, where all the budget will be finalized. I thought at that meeting with the confluence of, it leads into B, and I don't know how you want to handle it in terms of legislative update, that there needs to be a combined effort. Local has to be able to support, as well as getting our resources from Hartford, and the strategy of working together came out of that meeting. And then if it was followed up with a discussion here at a Public Relations Committee meeting, maybe I'm sure that Dick will talk about on the legislative update. I keep sending you materials, and everything is kind of in limbo. We understand that within the next week and a half now, I guess, there ought to be a final recommendation that will start going forward for approvals.
Appropriations and
The appropriations, so all the bills go through, yeah, from Hartford. So it moves into number 2. You know, from the city, right now we're scheduled for the 2.4 million, Joe?
2.4 million. No, from the city, 2.7 million, including the matrix funding.
Including the matrix.
2.2 is the base city allocation with the matrix.
500 from the matrix. So that coming through and approved, we're still looking for that 2.4 from Hartford that we need to have to pay for. We talked about a campaign. I don't know if you can talk about it in your report. I won't do it now.
You can do it. It's very safe.
We have that. We had a meeting the other night and we talked about making it really simple and sending something to Hartford. Apparently the mail is counted and inventoried in terms of support. It's a good time to call your legislative and say, hey, listen, you know, there's some things you need to do. And here are 3 things you can do for us in Danbury. Support the governor's budget, which will provide Danbury with $2.4 million in a Alliance grant. Support reclassifying Danbury schools as a distressed district in order to reduce the teacher pension cost to the municipality. And support the excess cost rate for special ed at 2 times rather than 4.5 times. Sincerely sign and send it up. They felt keeping it simple, making a simple message is what we ought to be doing. We also talked about getting some help from our lobbyists. Mark was in the room. There were other legislators in the room. There was city council member. Make appointments with the governor, appropriations chairman, the chairman of the education group to go up there and actually get some time and advocate for our resources. This will lead into next year, and you can talk about next year. But for this year, if we can have these 3 things happen, it will make a major difference in the work in our budget reduction that obviously going to happen to us. And we will not know that at this point until June 6th. And we were hinted the other night, I thought they might even go to an extended session, which was the first time I've heard that, which means it could push further towards July, depending on what happens in the legislature, which we're dependent on that $2.4 million. Pembroke utility upgrade, we had a Monday morning at 7 o'clock hereabouts. We got a call that the power was down at Pembroke, but they figured it could be restored. It was a result of the underground work that was done during vacation. We've been wanting that to happen for years. They did do it, but apparently there was a ground problem, so we did a 3-hour delay.
Right, and the ground fault was fixed, and there was a flaw in the transformer too, so all was done. So the good news is now the Pembroke power is on the ground. There's an awful tree line susceptible to downlinks, which takes out power that I feel like almost every time you got a 5-mile-an-hour wind, so they've done great.
Okay. Danbury Mission Portrait of Graduate discussion. Absolutely.
Just to pick up on what Dr. Sal said about the public hearing, I attended that public hearing on April 15th, and I want to say after many of the years that I attended, this was perhaps the best, most attended public hearing that I witnessed. There was an incredible outpouring from the teachers, public citizens, asking the council to support the superintendent's budget. The representation from the teachers didn't say that they needed more money, just indicated what the impact was of the lack of funding was on the education of the kids in Danbury. I really think it mesmerized the people in the council. For each of the people that talked, there was a different aspect of it, so it wasn't repetitious. So I was very pleased at the turnout, and I think based on the body language and the expressions of the people at the council, that they had an interest. So it was a very, very good turnout, one that we should be proud of.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Mr. Ryan. Again, to discussion, Danbury Mission Portrait of Graduate.
Yeah, just to begin, we had the workshop, and we thought this would be the opportunity. Didn't need any conversation, because we thought it was short. So just, you know about the work, the portrait of the graduate, as that gets identified, all of our resources will be aiming at that. And then we'll also be looking at our rising 8th graders and 5th graders. So there'll be a straight line through the expectations as they transition from one group to the other. But that portrait of the graduate is just essential for us to put a target on in terms of our development and our curriculum work. Kevin, do you want to talk a little about that, or is Meryl?
So, good evening, everyone. So, just a reminder, at a meeting earlier before the board meeting, a workshop meeting, we reviewed our vision statement, mission statement, guiding principles, portrait of the graduate. I'd like to restate them for the board, for the community. Our portrait of the graduate, December 11th, we had a community day in which we had 50+ stakeholders in the community. There were 6 themes that resonated from that day. I'm just going to share them with you. Critical thinkers, global stewards, consistent innovators, purposeful communicators, forever learners, and empathetic citizens. So this community day of 55+ stakeholders, we have facilitated join us that day. We were there from 8 in the morning to 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The charge that day was to leave the meeting with the draft vision, mission, and portrait of the graduate. We took all that information and synthesized that information, and the reoccurring themes and patterns. We landed on the 6 characteristics that I just shared with you. In addition, we have a vision statement, and the vision statement reads, Danbury Public Schools aspires to advance all learners to their highest potential. We also landed on a mission statement as a result of that work. And Danbury Public Schools, in partnership with families and the community, provides transformational learning experiences designed to nurture thoughtful and prepared graduates. And so we are, with feedback from the multiple stakeholder groups on our initial vision and mission, we had different statements. Those statements were changed and modified after feedback from various stakeholder groups. And we see an opportunity to operationalize the vision and mission through 6 distinct themes. And these themes are talent acquisition, staff development, school climate, teaching and learning, meaningful collaboration, and resource allocation. And in our eyes, these themes represent our shared values and aspirations that will help us, that will help guide how our district develops and grows. So in our meeting prior to this meeting, we went into more detail about the themes, how they will help operationalize the mission and vision, and we're hoping that we will adopt the vision, mission, and themes as presented earlier before the board.
Mr. Janelli.
Kevin, I share Emanuela's comment she made earlier. Outstanding job to you and your colleagues. I expressed it to each of them before they left. That wouldn't be here tonight. Just didn't want to be redundant during the meeting. You asked us to approve the role of the Board of Ed to approve those 6 items you mentioned in the vision statement. When are we to do that? And also, are we to have further discussions on at least what you gave us so that we could have an opportunity to discuss with you or give an input or ask certain questions?
And so, because I was so long-winded in the workshop, I was actually hoping we were going to have opportunities for Q&A during the workshop. Because I was so long-winded, it actually compromised that time. I was hoping to get some feedback actually during that session. We actually don't necessarily need a formal, what we really need is that the board has an appetite to adopt the vision and mission so we can continue forward with the recruitment of the action planning teams to start that work. However, our position is if the board is not willing to adopt this vision and mission, we don't want to move forward with the work until we have some agreement with the community representation groups. So whether it's this meeting or the next meeting, the board feels like they need more time to kind of digest all of the information, we certainly understand.
I would, in a personal opinion, I would prefer to do it at another meeting not to extend the evening longer. But I also would like a copy of that last page you had outlining those 6 points that you had. I don't think we can see it on. I'm sorry. I got, okay, I was looking for it more than first. I appreciate that. But if we can have a brief meeting prior to another board meeting or whenever it's opportune, just to discuss the mission statement, the vision statement, so that we're all on board with the terminology.
And Mr. Gianelli, were you referring to the next steps in the PowerPoint? Were you referring to the next steps in the PowerPoint?
Well, just prior to us adopting this, if there was any further communications or questions that we had to take up that session.
Okay.
This way it'll be all encompassing and then it'll be a collective consensus by everybody.
Do you think that that's something that you could do within the next meeting, that we could just put it on our agenda for the next meeting, present it when you're discussing it, and then we can just put it forward? And it's not an official, we're just either agreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it comes down to accepting the work.
Yes.
By accepting the work, then that permits us to move forward. If there's modifications, then we can do that as well.
And just questioning some of the language in the mission statement.
Okay.
So we'll put that for the next meeting?
During the next board meeting.
Next board meeting, and Ms. Von Ars.
If I'm understanding it right, too, so also, that's more of also a philosophical question in the sense that of our buy-in into the work that's done and the meaning of the words and how this tool is going to be used to guide also our decision-making process. So that's more of the buy-in that you're asking the question of us adopting it, not so much of a procedural aspect, but more in the sense of, are we comfortable with the direction that this structure provides us as a board as well, to then use it as a basis to make all of our decisions?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it won't work if it's just something that's, used within the team on the ground, the staff in schools, and if it's not also utilized by the board as a guiding principle to make these decisions.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gianelli.
One other follow-up I forgot to ask is, a key word to me is accountability. I mean, the work you've done is beautiful, but if it sits, as you said before, some other district had it sat on the shelf and it's all wasted, would you be able to highlight the different sections and how there would be, an accountability that would be able to be followed and measured, so that this, I look at as a living document, will change over the course of years. How do we go ahead and evaluate this, or how do you evaluate it? Could you take that into account the next time we meet?
My colleague is pulling.
So it's a great question. So similar to what, that was one of the pieces that we thought was an important piece that doesn't just live on the shelf, right? So how do we hold ourselves accountable internally for the pieces that we put in here? Knowing that any strategic plan will have ebbs and flows and will have to be revisions, and there are mitigating factors for why things could happen or not happen, but that we regularly meet and monitor ourselves and the action steps that we carve out. We determine what the evidence would be for an action step. So if we said we're going to train all staff in X, Y, Z to reach some of our goals, what is the plan for that? What is the timeline? Who's in charge and responsible for making that happen? And then how do we know that we've done it well? What are our indicators for success with that? And that we have regular meetings periodically to check in on our progress relative to the goals that we set, and to hold ourselves accountable for getting that done and doing it well. And if we aren't on progress, or we're not on track, what do we need to do to set it back on track and to adjust the plan to make it happen? But if you don't put performance targets in there, and indicators for what it looks like when it's done well, or when it's completed, and what the evidence looks like, then it just becomes something else on the wall.
So what's good from the administrator's point of view, to self-check should be the same standard should be held to the board. If we have our goals, we should be held accountable to measure, modify, and change these goals with time. So that's something maybe we could work on, so that to your point, how you develop it and do it, it might give us a hint as to how we can go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a hierarchical sphere of influence with all of this. So, all of our goals should be in alignment with the board, all the way down to the classroom level. They look a little bit differently based on what we have to do with the people that we're most directly responsible to work with and to areas to improve. But there is a hierarchical and spherical piece that flows through all the work that we do, starting at the top. So this plan, we ask teachers to set goals for their kids, we ask schools to set goals for their buildings, we ask departments to set goals for their staff members, and the district sets goals and performance indicators for where we'd like to see achievement go. So this is no different than any plan where we have performance indicators, timelines, persons responsible, and identified evidence of what does it look like, what are we looking for, that we know that this is completed and done well, and that there's been some sort of response as a result, that we're getting better as a result. So there are tricky things to figure out at first, but once you lay them out and you do a good job, then it makes monitoring a lot easier down the road.
It'd be good for us to start doing this as well, so we would have, a good practice and, a good sphere of influence by a group that will teach us how to do some of these things. So thank you very much.
Yeah, what I was saying is great, thank you. Board chairperson's report. Actually, I went to Westside Middle School today on the welcome walkthrough, and I had a very good tour guide over there, Mr. Ben Chaleski. Took me around the school, my group, and we did the physical environment of the school. There were 4 different groups. I was asked to go back as a parent of Westside Middle School graduates and as board member. And there was quite a turnout, and there was 4 different groups who did different aspects of it. One group interviewed the principal, one went over the written documents, one went over the physical aspects. I forget what the 4th one was, but it was very interesting. We spent several hours doing it, and we found some good things. Actually, I got a few pieces brought up that we may want to let them know. The new modular buildings have some loose trim and several electrical outlets that aren't working. But other than that, everybody was enthralled with the new mod buildings. There was just a few. They were worried about the little trim pieces sticking out, and so they wanted to have that. And then one classroom has like 4 outlets that don't work.
Oh, jeez, the outlets.
Yep. So I said I was coming to the meeting tonight, so I said I would bring it up. So Joe would jump all over it.
That's how we stay small.
That's our new power saving method. We're not going to line it up and
rolling blackouts.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. You know how to save money here. We don't need Hartford. Anyway, it was a really interesting piece. It was run by somebody out of New Haven, and I can't remember the name of her group, but she did a great job. And we were given a list of things to look for, and I found it to be really interesting. I'm not sure if it's done at all the schools, but if it isn't, it probably should be. It really was an eye-opener. Some people, there was one of the students led the group, and there was staff and parents and board member. So there was kind of a big peripheral around the whole thing, and then we all came back together and discussed what we found, and they're going to come up with a report to give back to Dr. LaBanca. So CERC, that's what it was. Yes. Too many things going here. That's what happens when you pour like 5 gallons of information into a shot glass of a brain. So, anyway, that's all I have for there. Does anybody have any communications? Kate?
I just wanted to thank Mr. Gianelli for organizing the community relations meeting that we had on Monday, which I thought was really good. We had a room full of people who I think are all committed to really seeing things change for this district and how we're going to do that. And I just wanted to speak to Dr. Sal's point. You know, we have that little note card that's got some points that we need to be making to our state legislators, which I think is really good. One of those, which is on the excess funding for special education. I think that one's really important. Right now, I think it's four times. So we're trying to get that one to go through, because one of the things that came out of that meeting was that the mayor, I think, became aware of the fact that that money is issued back to the city and not to the school district. And he agreed to make sure that that money now is going to be transferred over to the school district. So that's a windfall of money that I think we really should push for.
And to follow up with Kate, the meeting was well attended. The purpose of the meeting, for those of you may not know, was to put together a coalition. I keep using the word coalition, for lack of a better word, that would basically engage community stakeholders in Danbury to allow us as a city to advocate to Hartford for more funding. Simplistically put, that was it. The mayor was there, the state senator Judy Kirshner was there, Aaron Daly, who's the NEA president, was there. There was a general consensus that yes, let's go ahead with this. The mayor had indicated, I was hoping by the end of this week, and I'll follow through. I had asked him to select somebody from the council. Hopefully it will be on the education committee. Somebody on the council that would sit on this, it's called a board for the time being, on this council. And as well as I asked Aaron Daly to have somebody from NEA to participate. I'd like to ask Amy and Kate to sit on this council on behalf of the board. And as we grow, we will reach out to other community members to have what we think is a fair representation. Mark also, in addition to becoming aware of this special ed cost, also indicated the need to get this out to the public. And so much was being said tonight in your presentation of the portrait of a student, is how successful you were in the community. And I think that's something that we've lacked over the years, so that, you know, I look back at the movie The Godfather, when they had that, the heads of the family got together and they were complaining that you don't share your assets. Is what you learned in a community and your resources and who you contacted may be valuable to us as a source, so that we can go ahead and contact those people, because we didn't have those inroads. So it would be nice to now be welcomed as you were welcomed, basically by an invitation. Also, the mayor said that his thought process was to create a web page and perhaps some publications, and if I understood him correctly, he said he would fund that. So he's 100% on board for this. This is a project that's going to take more than 1 year. We had discussed, I thought it was basically more of a long-term objective, but the conversation ensued about short-term things for this year, as Dr. Sal pointed out in those 3 bullet points. But basically, we'll attack it going ahead as well by having a 5 or 6 type of hot button items, so to say, so that we all would be educated on. So when the time is right to go to Hartford, we speak facts, and working with the lobbyist, we'll have the opportune time to talk to different people. There was conversations about getting us in to talk to the governor or his chief of staff. So there's a lot of momentum on this currently, and I think, you know, I always say, while the iron is hot, strike. So I look for this to be, you know, a successful project. I thank everybody for their, you know, their time on it.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. Last night I went to the Shelter Rock Science Fair, and I just wanted to give them a big shout out, because they did a terrific job, and you know, the place was packed to the gills with parents, the students, and everybody was engaged. You know, I was there from when it started to when it ended, and you know, I was seeing the same people throughout the entire night, and it was just everybody was so involved. And you know, Anna and Ida did a great job. The raffle baskets that they created, you know, delegated out the entire staff out of their own pocket, put together these beautiful gift baskets for the raffle, and just I wanted to give them a shout out because I try to go every year, and it was just a terrific job. So,
Thank you, terrific. Mr. Karat.
I'm excited to report back on the policy committee meeting that we had immediately before this meeting. We had oh yeah, I'm very excited. So we discussed that the district has about 16 to 17 policies that we really need to review and adopt. So we planned 2 meetings coming up, one on May 1st at 6:30 and another on May 8th at 5:30. And I'm just asking the cabinet if you could please distribute those policies to us as soon as possible. That way we can review them in advance, get our questions ready, and hopefully we can get these adopted as quickly as possible.
5-1 at
6:30.
6:30 and 5-8 at 5:30. Terrific. And Joe, do we have a facilities committee meeting coming up? And
I thought there's one on the calendar somewhere, but I haven't.
I didn't see it there, and I didn't know if
Yeah,
there was Mr. Jalbert.
We talked about it. I mean, we obviously said Antonio's back in full speed, so we kind of get him engaged in there. My assumption would be once Mark gets the budget adopted, then we can begin those kind of further discussions with him on, the bonding process and those sort of things.
So we think we need a policy.
We need a facility.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
It's here, sites and facilities meeting set for May 15th at 7 p.m.
Oh,
Thank you.
5:15.
So was policy.
7 p.m.
Policy was also set for May 15th, wasn't it?
No, we did the first meeting.
First, they moved it back.
Finance meeting. We did talk about this at these meetings.
Thanks for paying attention on as well.
He was so excited too.
Did you say something? I was sad.
Can't believe it. Never again.
Just briefly, just
21 meetings in May.
What was the enrollment number? We just took a quick peek. Just let.
Current enrollment number district-wide is 11,700.
How many new Ks did we get?
We're up, 30 additional kindergarten kids registered since October 1st, and you're up another 130 students district-wide since October 1. And your preschool numbers are up on the 125.
And we are on the fast track to break 12,000, huh?
Rogers Park is at 1,000 right now, which it hasn't been since we took a STEM program out of there, so that's concerning. Park Ave is 664 range. So, big numbers. I want to say this like almost crept up overnight. We were looking at some stuff at Gavin the other day and pulled the enrollment tags. My God, what happens is, but big numbers came through, definitely. So we're seeing, kindergarten numbers, 23. Middle Ridge Primary had amazing growth this year, about 15% growth out of Middle Ridge Primary. Big number.
What was the increase since the beginning, Jim? I'm sorry.
I hate not quoting the exact number. I think it was about 100. If like regular kids, I think it's about 130.
The architect's looking at some options.
Yeah, Glenn split the enrollment data for King Street. We sliced them, and we also looked at some options of if the 4-5 stayed in Middle Ridge Primary, what that trajectory of growth looked like as well. So we talked about that in the sequence.
When Bill de Blasio makes skyscrapers illegal in New York, maybe we can bring one here for school.
So we need to, and I also made some calls around, just because I was asked if there isn't anything really available for us to rent that is a building. And we're really, the preschool is really a challenge to us because of the standards. So Glenn has got some ideas about that. Well, is that, no. Joe just reminded me, the pathways, I think I mentioned it a month ago, will no longer be in existence. They have a facilities downtown, and we've gone over and taken a look at that. That might be something we can utilize for adult ed, but I don't know, and then we would look at the building where Jackie is at, see what we can house there. So those are things that we're looking at, but that's the only thing that's available at this point.
Just shuffling around.
Yeah.
Well, expanding one program and moving one out, so.
We should talk about the Endeavor program too, so the board understands it really makes a difference, and we should expand both. They're not dumping grounds, they're really experiences for kids, so we can do that, but we still need, as Kelly will keep reminding, we need pre-K that's growing exponentially.
Looks like 107 elementary students, 29 middle, and flat high school. And preschool, yeah, that's split up, but they're
It's
about
about 120.
About 120, big numbers.
I mean, remember, preschool naturally grows over the course of the year because we accept kids as they turn 3 or as they become eligible, but 120 is
Yeah, you're,
you know, normally we do about 50, maybe 60,
Yeah,
we're not.
If that just annex another town or something.
your October 1 preschool was 232. You're currently at 365, so you're 130 some odd kids.
And what's the total study?
Enrollment, including preschool.
Okay.
I'll get this to the board for the next meeting, which is the data was pretty raw when we were looking at it. Total, 11,712, including preschool.
Including
Yeah, I'll put it on the next meeting, yeah. And like I said, it wasn't final, I didn't want to put it on.
He was just verifying the numbers.
Yeah.
They seem to be out of whack.
Yeah, there was,
And of course, we need the money, so Danbury Day in Hartford, May 9th, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Everybody in Danbury should go there. Except for teachers can't come.
at the opera.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a quick, thank you. My granddaughter's in the preschool program at Great Plains, and as I take her there in the morning and I pick her up, and we talk about the dedication of teachers and how they treat our children. But the little tiny ones, 3-year-old, 3 and a half, you should see the step. Now, I don't know about the other schools because I don't go there to visit their free. But the staff at Great Plains, when they come out and they meet those children, it would just make chills run down my back. And my granddaughter, she's been going ever since December. She has not gotten up and said, I don't want to go to school. Grandma, I want to go. And she came back home last week and she said, Grandma, guess what? I said, what? She said, the teacher says, he loves me like my parents do. And I said, well, that's good. She says, and he loves all the children, Grandma. I said, that's the way it's supposed to be. So I'm just so ecstatic that she's getting that type of care at only 3 and a half. And her vocabulary is improving. And she tells me she's a princess, so I'm going to believe her. So thank the staff at Great Plains and everything that those teachers come out when they meet those buses and have the tender care, because everybody don't have that ability to deal with a young child.
Thank you for acknowledging them. They do a phenomenal job at all
Yes,
buildings.
they do.
And
They
3 and
do.
4-year-olds, as many of you know,
Yes.
are not easy. Particularly students that have, challenges,
Yes.
and so they work very, very hard. So thank you. I will definitely share your.
Thank you so much. Do we have any executive sessions?
No.
Oh, my goodness, isn't that terrible?
I will just, I will just give a heads up though that we will at some point, because we are just going to get ready to start negotiating now.
We never have a doubt that you will spring a
It's coming.
executive session on us at
It's
some
coming.
time when we're most in need.
And we do have a meeting May 7th.
Yes.
Okay? That's on the calendar.
Yeah, we have something on this. It's on my big list. We have something, oh, there's an ad hoc meeting on 5/7 is superintendent. 5:15 is finance and sites. Oh, the finance is at 6 o'clock on the 15th. Okay, so in our 61 meetings that we have in May, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn if somebody would like to do that, Mr. Seconded by Mrs. Cooper. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm not even gonna ask if anybody's opposed.